my name is Grace Thomas and I'm studying in grade 2. My project's name is Stories and Telling Through Time and Cultures. Don't you love listening to stories? I do. We learn and get entertained from them. Let me tell you a few facts about storytelling. Storytelling is immersed in history. It has been used to understand important and significant historical events. Stories can be utilized to explain how things came to be. Folktales and legends reflect the beliefs, customs, language, and traditions of communities. Stories can explain the natural world and deliver life lessons. Do you know the types of stories? I am going to tell you a few types of stories. Number 1, fables. Fables are short tales that usually feature animals with human-like qualities. They are there to deliver a specific moral or lesson. An example is The Tortoise and the Hare. Number 2, folktales. Folktales are stories from the oral tradition. They're stories that people tell each other and can have a moral at the end. An example is Stone Soup. Number 3, fairy tales. Fairy tales are written works of fiction that usually feature fantasy or magic. An example is Cinderella. Myths. Myths are traditional stories. Some are factual origins while others are completely made up. An example is Greek mythology, the story of Hercules and the lion. Number 5, legends. Legends are stories about a true person. They have changed and grew over time to make the story more interesting. They are told repeatedly and repeatedly over again. An example is King Arthur. Let me tell you some storytelling techniques. A good story always has 5 parts. They're called the 5 C's of storytelling. Number 1, circumstance. Circumstance is the stage where you establish your scene. It covers the context of the story also, like who, what, when, and why. Number 2, curiosity. Curiosity is where you draw your audience's attention and keep them to your words. Number 3, characters. Characters, they are the people in your story. They must have a personality that the audience can relate to. Number 4, conversation. The audience will remember the story if the storyteller covers the right amount of emotion. Number 5, conflicts. Even though in the real world, we people try to avoid conflicts. But the best stories are not complete without a conflict. The characters struggle to overcome it. A story always has a problem, and the conflict is the problem. Now, since we learned about storytelling techniques, let me tell you the 4 elements of storytelling. They're called the 4 P's of storytelling. The first element is people. They are the characters in your story. The second element is places. That is the setting or where your story takes place. The next element is plot. That is the conflict or journey of the story. The last element is purpose. That is, why should you tell the story or why should anyone care about it? For the research of my project, I read some books. I am going to talk about 3 books from the books I read. My first story is The Tortoise and the Hare. What kind of story is it? A fable. The characters are a turtle and a hare. The plot is they both race and the tortoise wins. The moral is slow and steady wins the race. My next story is Stone Soup. What kind of story is it? A folktale. Who are the characters? Travelers and villagers. The plot is hungry strangers convince the people of a town to share their food. The villagers learn the value of sharing. The moral could be sharing is caring or anything that is related to sharing. The next story I'm going to tell is the story I wrote for the storytelling celebration. It is called Liliella's Adventure. The type of story is a fairy tale. The characters are a princess and an enchantress. The plot is a princess defeats an enchantress to find missing spells. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I am going to tell that story in the storytelling celebration. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.